Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. I am Dr. Munibur Rahman. I am a toxicologist by profession and I am head at Nutrify Today Academy. I am delighted to have you all join us today for this exciting first edition of the R&D Grail, the rhythmic choreography of food sensorials. Over the next 1 hour, we will explore how we can enhance the multisensorial experience of nutraceuticals, making supplements more enjoyable to consume. This episode will reveal how effective nutraceuticals combine scientific benefits with a delightful sensory experience, turning daily nutrition into a choreographed ritual. To moderate the session, we have with us Dr. Balkumar Marthi, who is an industry veteran with more than 30 years of experience as a food scientist. He is a president at Nutrify Today Academy, and Dr. Balkumar has been ex-Unilever R&D head. He has also been the Dean of Innovations at Geetham University. Sir, over to you for introducing our panelists and moderating the session.
All right, thank you, Munib, and panelists and everyone, welcome, and welcome again to those people who are there for the first Grail. And I hope we have kind of deliberately labeled these as episode 1 and 2 because it is a story we are telling, a developing story as it goes along from episode to episode. The first one was a very simple exposition of the tango between fenugreek and vanilla as almost like a teaser, because when you have two such flavors which are diametrically opposite, they need to come to equal terms before they can make an impact felt in terms of pleasantness for the consumer. From that simple or deceptively simple interaction, we now move today to something that is a lot more complex, because now as it were, we are invoking all the gods of sensory and experience, and that's why we've called it the rhythmic choreography of the food sensorials, because food is a complex matrix. Somebody said that at the end of the day, food is the kitchen is just a laboratory where we bring together physics, chemistry, and mathematics. And biology. Well, they're missing this big aspect of it, which is the physiology and the uncertainties associated with the consumer. What does the consumer want? How does the consumer respond to those wants? How does the consumer behave? How can we predict? How can we address? And how can we fulfill the needs of the consumer? At the end of the day, we are here to fulfill the needs of the consumer, whether it is in terms of great tasting foods, whether it is in terms of fresh and natural foods, whether it is in terms of giving them health benefits that they either desire, or in more and more cases they're forced to adopt foods that have health benefit because of lifestyle diseases, etc. Now, the whole topic of food liking and consumer preference is very big. It has evolved over the last several decades, but only now, because of advances in, say, neuroscience and instrumentation and various ways of measuring things, I think that now is really the time when this will peak. And as we get into the whole area of nutrition and wellness, nutraceuticals, supplements, functional foods, functional ingredients, I think it makes sense for us to explore this and see how we can use these characteristics of a consumer, the sensorial aspects, and also the various physicochemical characteristics and organoleptic characteristics of foods to help us deliver the kind of benefits we want. Because at the end of the day, nutrition and wellness actually depends on people forming habits. And those habits can be formed if they get the right kind of positive, favorable cues, and we will explore later on today how that can be possible. So it's my pleasure to invite our three eminent panelists. I think they are very well placed to talk on these matters, because they have either worked at the research end or have worked at the delivery end, so to speak. So let me start in alphabetical order, which also happens to be ladies first. So Dr. Kanta Shelke. Kanta is coming to us all the way from Chicago. So thank you for making the time and getting up at 3:30 in the morning to be here for a 4 o'clock meeting. Welcome. And Kanta is the founder and principal of Corvus Blue, which is a contract company that addresses the needs of the food industry. I think it's from end to end, right? Almost from farm to fork in terms of not only formulation, process, etc., but also safety, regulatory, and other activities. So she calls herself a diversified scientist with a lot of experience in food and clinical nutrition, and she has with her work been able to also gain a lot of expertise in the area of making foods more palatable and indeed compellingly tasty. So welcome, Kanta, and we look forward to your views. Next we have Dr. Pankaj Bhatt. Pankaj is the Senior Director R&D at Piramal Pharma, and he brings a lot of experience in, again, processing and formulation development, and his experience is in innovation, regulatory compliance, and in Piramal Healthcare he drives strategic initiatives for product safety sustainability. So collaborating very closely with marketing and sales streams, because they are the people who give you what the consumer wants, and his job is to deliver cutting-edge solutions to meet consumer needs. And finally, I'm very pleased to welcome Dr. Pratibal Singh. Dr. Singh is the president of Tirupati Group. Tirupati Group is a big major player in generic pharma, and Dr. Pratibal Singh brings a lot of experience in these generics as well as differentiated formulations. His expertise is really in drug delivery systems, all kinds of complex systems, whether they're injectables, whether they're topical, whether they're ophthalmic, etc. And I think he's got this unique view then on how to formulate so that actives can be delivered to the human body. Slightly different from pharma, I must say, because we are talking more about through a food that is ingested, not injected or inhaled. But I'm looking forward to hearing from you that how can you use some of those technologies, even like when you're inhaling a flavor or a smell, how that can cue consumers. So welcome, and I'm looking forward to a great discussion. So let's start at the basics. Why does this matter? Why should we worry about food and multisensorials in food and the perception of how food is consumed and liked? So let's start with that. So that's my first question to the panel. I'll give you 2 to 3 minutes to summarize, and it will take more questions and the discussion further. So shall we start there?
Absolutely. I'm going to start with your example of kitchen as nature's lab. Every time you cook, you're conducting an experiment that entails these three sciences: the physics, the chemistry, and the biology. Why does it matter? Well, physics gives the texture. That crunchiness of toast, the smoothness of chocolate that melts and it coats your tongue as our body's heat converts that cocoa butter into a fluid. And the chemistry creates flavor. So when you're caramelizing onions, the colorless, odorless sugar molecules are breaking down, and then they recombine, and they give you hundreds of new compounds that are suddenly brown, and they have a great taste and a wonderful aroma that you can smell from afar. So it's not that sharp and raw taste, aroma, flavor that you associate with onions. And then when you look at biology, it brings it all together through our senses. Our taste buds detect the 5 basic tastes, but it's our nose and our brain, as you said. We eat with our eyes before we even smell, touch, or see our food. And our brain identifies an infinite combination of aromas, and they create what we call flavor. So what's the magic? The magic is that it's not just a cookie, is not just flour, sugar, butter, a biscuit, but it is a precisely timed chemical reaction where the fat melts, the proteins coagulate, the starches gelatinize, and the sugar caramelizes, and they all happen at a precise but different temperatures. Get the timing wrong and you have a hockey puck. Get it right and you have perfection. The sensory science of food is understanding these transformations against the backdrop of the environment, so we can create, with all the bounty that India has in form of the various herbs and Ayurvedic materials, to create and consistently recreate that perfection reliably. So whether you're making chai at home or you're making an ashwagandha-based effervescent tablet for a global market, all of this matters.
That's great. We'll take that further. Lots of interesting points that you brought up. So, Pankaj, would you like to add on your views?
So for me, even the healthiest thing, product, a healthy product, if it is not tasty, it will not be acceptable by the consumer, right? So it has, because all these products are connected to our brain all the time. For example, if a chocolate is chalky, consumer will not accept it, right? And as Dr. Kanta rightly said, it is a combination of chemistry, physics, and biology. A dough, if I use that dough for making rumali roti, making tawa roti, and making tandoori roti, the taste will be different. I have not done anything, the dough was same. But why it is different? Because heat transfer has altered. In all the three formats, the transfer of heat has altered and the optimization of time was different, right? So similarly, while making food, you will have to do the emulsification at high temperature. You will have to do the Maillard reaction. You will have to do the caramelization if it has sugar, right? So the taste changes if we apply chemistry, if we apply physics. The complete texture of the product can change, and hence it will impact on the sensory of that particular product. So I think these things are really important. These things are really important to make the texture, viscous, to make the texture creamy, to make the texture acceptable. And basis the texture, we need to optimize all these chemical reaction and physical properties of the cooking. I think very important. Without this, there is no product. Even the healthiest product fails in market if it doesn't taste good. Sensory optimization ensures consumer stick to the wellness diets actually.
Right. Yeah, it's especially important when we talk about people who are now in the pharma industry moving towards nutrition, that this is also important.
Right.
Formulating a tablet or a supplement or a capsule or whatever is complicated enough, but this adds an extra dimension. So I think that's what we need to remember. Dr. Singh, your views, your thoughts.
So I think I'll start from where I think Dr. Kanta was mentioning about, because what eyes can't taste. And so I remember what my mother used to say always. If she doesn't like how it is presented, she used to tell me, जिनको आंखें नहीं खाए उनको जुबान कैसे खाए. So I completely agree. And one thing which I wanted to add, when we're talking about the taste part or the food aspects, of course, there's a physics involved, there's a chemistry involved, there's a biology involved, but also there's a mathematics involved, because everything, whatever you involve into it, it has to be at an appropriate temperature at the right time. A few seconds here and there, and then it's just stopped away. I'll just take one examples of each subject. Let's say how the chemistry is involved. I think Dr. Pankaj mentioned about the Maillard reaction. So we have to understand that the Maillard reaction happens between reducing sugar and the amino acid or any nitrogen containing compound. So if you want to bring that caramelized flavors, say for example in a bread, then we need to have these components, and we have to heat them at a particular specific temperature for a specific time to get that roasted or that toasted flavor. Let's say we all know about the oil rancidity. So with ages, it gives you a bad taste and a bad flavor or bad aroma. Whereas cheese, it takes some time to process and give you the right texture and the right taste. Let's talk about the physics. So even the mode of cooking, whether it's a conduction or a convection or a radiation, so when you are grilling it, it has to be through conduction. Unless and until you don't have that conduction, you don't get that burnt flavor. and वो burnt flavor नहीं है, तो you really don't feel like okay, this food is grilled. Similarly, I mean, let's say the convection, it happens through certain medias. Let's say the boiled egg, one of the most widely used as a natural protein source. But just imagine instead of convection or instead of putting into the either steam or the boiling water, you put it in the tandoor. So what happens to that egg? So you will actually get the rocket smell. So again, the microwaves, the radiations, the IR rays, they all are used for a specific purpose. Rheology, another physical aspect. So certain gums, if they're directly diluted in a hot water, you actually form the lumps. There's the right technique. So when you're making, say, that instant soup, so the best way is actually to disperse your powder in small quantity of water, which is at room temperature, and then you slowly start boiling it so that it increases the viscosity uniformly. The biological aspects. So we all know a simple thing starts with our household, curd. So unless and until it transforms into a certain the bacterial action which coagulates proteins and then converts into a yogurt, the yeast is required. The dough, I think Dr. Pankaj was mentioning about in a rumali roti or another the baked items, the carbon dioxide has to be internally released. Again, it's the biological through microbiological actions that happens. Let's say another example which we can use at the commercial. So apple juice, there are different juices which we can make. So apple juice, if we make at home, that is white curdly appearance. But whereas we are used to that crystal clear yellow liquid which is commercially available. Now why it happens is because there is a pectin involved into the each cells and they are joined together by a substance called as pectin. Unless and until you use an enzyme which is pectinase, which breaks down all those cells, you get a very clear, sparkling yellow color liquid. So, and everything has got a time fraction also. So there's fourth dimension, which is the mathematics, which is involved. So food, I think, may be an underestimated because we are making food, each one of us, every day at home, but it's one of the most complex sciences.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Yeah.
Great. I remember when we were working on bouillon cubes stocks way back with Unilever. We had the powdered ones, of course, powdered and compacted. The problem there was, as you were mentioning, lumping and also spoilage because they would retain a lot more water. So consumers wanted something that didn't look like that, because when you mix a lumpy thing, then it's visually very difficult. So the consumers wanted a gel. Now people think that, okay, a gel, I can make a gel, that's not a problem. It's simple enough physics and chemistry. But what you have to understand is when you make a gel, when you mix the stock, you have to heat it up, and then after it cools, it has to become a gel. It has to stay a gel as long as it is there in the distribution system, even at temperatures of, say, 35 degrees Celsius. But once you put it in a vessel for cooking, in a hot liquid, that's when it has to melt. So those are the kinds of things that we need to say. So basically what we are trying to establish here is formulation science is complicated, and it requires a lot of knowledge in these various domains. Now adding another layer to it is now the whole consumer side, how you experience this food, because it's complicated enough to make it, but how do you have to make it to a specification, and that specification is the quality that a consumer desires. You already have the natural taste, flavor and organoleptics of the ingredients that you use, but to formulate them into something that looks and tastes like what you want, like a dosa, like a bread, like a vada, whatever, you need to look at the whole issue of consumer liking, hedonics, etc. So shall we kind of explore that? It says, what are the factors that go into consumers preferring certain types of foods? Why is it that if I get a batata vada, I love it when it comes out of Mumbai, but I hate it when it comes out of Andhra Pradesh, because I think that's the best way. That's the only place where they can make it. So, who would like to talk about the whole sensorial aspect and the five senses, and also how those integrate together?
Yeah.
Pankaj, you want to go first?
I can go first, yeah. So, as you rightly said, this food experience is not just the taste, right? So, it is a multi-sensory integration today. So, if you'll ask me how consumer will be having the cue for that is, for example, smell, right? So, smell, aroma, a lot many times if you will see the dish, automatically the salivary gland will activate and you will secrete saliva and you would urge to have that food. So, smell has a very big cue on the product perception. Smell is one thing. Smell sometimes leads to creating salivary secretion in the buccal cavity. Apart from this, I think texture, mouthfeel, if it is creamy, if it is viscous, we like that thing. On that front, sometimes if you would have seen, I was able to see your thing also, fizz. As soon as I do fizz, immediately a perception will come that this fizz is right now in the glass, in the glass of water, but the same reaction is going to happen in my stomach, and immediately you will start getting relief also. So these are the senses which are immediately the cranial nerve is sending all those messages that the fizz is happening here, fizz will happen in my stomach as well, right? So similarly, we sometimes eat chips, right? So chips are always crispy. If the chips is not crispy, you will be having a cue that either it is stale or it has taken moisture. That's why it is like that now. So I think sound is also one thing in the example of chips. Sound, if the crispy sound is not coming, you will feel that it is stale. And I think gustation also plays a major role over here. As soon as we keep something in mouth, the sweeter, salty, all these taste emerges out, and these gives a signal to our through our cranial nerve that the food, whether we should take this food or we should not take this food. So this also signal comes as soon as all these receptors get activated. If you will ask me, vision also plays a better role over here. You can accept a food basis its appearance. If the appearance is very bright, it feels that it is fresh, right? To me, it feels it is fresh. If the appearance is not bright, I will feel it might be the dull food, right? So I think color and plating set expectation before we taste it. I think for me, food experience is not just taste. It's the multi-sensory integration where smell, texture and mouthfeel, taste, sound, auditory cues, vision, all these things matter.
Okay, great. Dr. Singh?
Sure. I think very aptly covered by Dr. Pankaj. And again, if we look at the primary Ayurveda concept, they also tells you that when you want to cherish the food, it is your all five senses, your touch, your eyes, your nose, your hair. It is not merely your tongue which eats it, it's each and every senses which eats the food. And there's a very specific reason that why in ancient India the food was never food was always taken with hand, because first and foremost thing is when one thing is you check the temperature that it's not too cold and it's not too hot, because the epithelial cells of your oral cavity, they are slightly fragile, so immediately you can form a blister if it is too hot. So your fingers will give you that specific sensation. Second thing is when we talk about the textures and everything, whether it's granular, whether it's smooth, it's paste, before even your oral palate can feel it, it's basically your physical sensation, what we also refer to as a somatosensation. That's what which first give you that sensation. Second is when we talk about the taste, we all know there are 5 different tastes. We have sweet, umami, bitters, and sour and salty. So again, there are different, a complete physiological mechanism is involved. For example, there are G protein coupled receptors which gives you whether this particular how much sweetness, umami and bitterness. They are governed by G protein coupled receptors. If it is a saltiness, there are ion exchange channels which determines how saltiness of this particular product is. Again, the sourness is predicted by the H plus ions on the product. Now, third aspect is about the olfactory, very, very important. Now, if we talk about the olfactory sensation, there are primarily at the 2 levels. One is called as the orthonasal and another is the retronasal. Now, what are both of these? And in fact, both of these concepts can be perfectly utilized how to make an innovation in the food category. So, orthonasal is that category wherein you experience the aroma of a food product before you have ingested. So it primarily depends upon the volatile components of that food. Whereas the retronasal is the secondary concept when you have actually you started grinding that food. So there are certain entrapped flavors which comes out and which gives you sort of a burst feeling, and then from your mouth to the nasal pharynx it goes to the olfactory receptor neurons which are again connected to your brain. So directly the brain perceives those. Now how do we bring those? So probably you would have heard of certain type of food which does not have a flavor on the first go, but slowly there is a burst of flavors. It comes in chewing gums, it comes in candies, it comes in different kind of other different type of foods. So that gives you an altogether a different kind of experience when different kind of flavors are bursted.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, it's a complex. Kanta, you.
Thank you, Dr. Marthi. Dr. Bhatt and Dr. Singh did a fantastic job talking about the senses and the sciences. So that leaves me to talk about something else, and that is the benefit, the reason that we even choose one food over another. So to bridge this experience gap through food science is to harness the power of the immediate with the effect. This is the palpable benefit that comes over and over again. So that's what companies are looking at. What can we create so that consumers can feel the difference? That abstract promise is now a tangible experience because it's the experience that builds trust and loyalty. So I'm going to do this by taking 2 case studies. If you've all not heard about it, Google it. 5-Hour Energy. It's a tiny energy shot, but what it relies on is the feel it factor. What is the innovation? It's got caffeine, same as you would get in a cup of coffee. But what we put into it was B vitamins, gluconodelta-lactone, taurine, citicoline, and niacin, all in this 2-ounce shot. So one of them kicks in, the other one kicks in, and then another one kicks in. So it's designed for rapid absorption and a noticeable energy boost within minutes. And then it is sustained for as long as the name suggests, 5 hours. But what is also important is there's no crash. Like, when you eat something sweet or something with caffeine, after a while you just get drained. None. No sugar overload. Just a clean, sustained, and noticeable alertness. Why did this work? The genius was not just the formulation. It was creating an undeniable sensory experience. So consumers feel that energy kick in about 5 to 6 minutes, and then the product proves itself constantly. That palpable benefit is what turned skeptics into believers, and a single product became a billion-dollar category. I'll give you another food example that is easy. Ice cream, Ben & Jerry's, that Unilever bought, right? And they commercialized it across all 5 continents. This is about engineering indulgence with the science behind the comfort. So they've got the air into it, there's an overrun, there's a signature taste, then there are large pieces, what they call chunk inclusion technology. So there's a delicious surprise in everything, because you don't ever find that, and all of this is staying intact. Then there's the fat, the creaminess, etc. So there's an emotional payoff. They didn't just make ice cream, they created an experience that takes you back one bite, and that melting sweetness effect triggers a comfort and a satisfaction. Now, what if we could take Chyawanprash or Amla Prash or Bacopa or Karela and turn all those bitter, astringent ingredients that we know is good for us, but does not taste good, and we avoid it. But what if we made it into a creamy, dreamy product that every age person would like to dig into? This is what we're looking for. The takeaway is, whether it's energy or comfort, it has to make the benefit perceptible. They have to feel it. They have to know it's good for them.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Yeah. Just as an interesting aside, did you know that the reason Ben and Jerry's has got all those chunks and more density is because the founder, Jerry, was actually didn't have a sense of smell. So he relied more on the formulation feel and creaminess and all that too. It turns out that people liked it. That brings an interesting point that you brought up, Ben and Jerry's, because Ben and Jerry's important and value is not only because of the taste that they give, but it's also because of their being active, especially in the environmental and social justice causes, and that's also as important as everything else. Yeah. So how does the environment influence how you taste foods? And there's simple examples and very clear examples is when you're eating something at 36,000 feet on a plane, it doesn't taste as well. Your chips don't make that crunchy noise because your hearing is blocked because at that altitude. So how does the environment and how a company behaves also impact taste perception? Kanta, I'll go back to you first.
Oh, absolutely. And let's take the social aspect. So when I was at Ben & Jerry's, we knew that we were facing profound demographic shift. Our population was aging. They wanted to eat easier to eat, but nutritious foods. And then there was a growing cultural diversity. People were traveling all over and they wanted gulab jamun and rasgulla in their ice cream. And they wanted not just vanilla and strawberry, they wanted something more. But there was another component, and that was this persistent food insecurity that's affecting the growing billions. So the challenge was, how do you create a product that is simultaneously nutritious, affordable, and culturally relevant? So we're going to look at technological challenges. So you want to make sure that it's, what are we doing? Are these novel foods good for us? And I'm going to let Dr. Singh and Dr. Bhatt address them. And also this aspect about the environmental change, the climate change. So your coffee, your chocolate, even your basic, roti and rice, all of this is going to taste very different in 20 years because we have to reduce water use, we have to minimize waste. And I'm very concerned about mangoes because I absolutely love mangoes. And I know, can I have mangoes in North America? So, sensory science and food formulation becomes a critical translator, taking nutritional necessity, technological possibility, and the environmental imperative into an experience that people crave, but also know that's good for them. So Dr. Bhatt and Dr. Singh, take it away.
All right. Before you take it away, I'd like to add a twist to that question also, because we're now talking about we have very smoothly segued into health and health benefits from foods. There's a study actually I saw which said that if a food is supposed to be giving some health benefits and it says so on the pack, consumers like that food less. Yeah, so yes. that in itself provides us with the challenges. Now, when it comes to health and wellness, what are the challenges that we face, and how does the environment around your company, around the world, around the demographics shape that kind of acceptance, because that is very important for a company getting into this domain. So Dr. Singh, would you like to
Sure, I'll take
add
this.
to that?
So I think very apt question, and specifically if you're talking about in today's world of social media, and which is uh, influenced and dominated by certain influencers as well. Now, what happens is you provide a lot of information. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's scientific, sometimes it is not. Let's say, for example, white sugar has been perceived as a white poison. To a certain extent, it is true because uh, it all depends upon your metabolism. How do I consume it? For example, what was my grandfather used to consume, but I have to also look at that he was primarily a farmer, and from early morning to late evenings he used to work in the farm. Uh, Majority of us nowadays, we are sitting in an office almost 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, so we hardly are require any calories. So for us, then it could be more dangerous. Second, but we should remember that the only nutrition which your brain needs is the glucose molecule. So please do not deprive yourself of the glucose to a certain extent, that like your brain is actually, the brain activity is getting hampered. Now, even coming down to the environmental factors and other thing, let's say the carbon emission because of the livestock. So there have been innovations with respect to the artificial meat which is getting produced. From the Tirupati group, I mean, we are one of the largest manufacturer of the protein powders in India. And off lately, we have seen a demand or a shift from vegetarian to a vegan also. So many of them, they don't even prefer the milk-based products as well. So the yeast protein could be another alternative that is looking at. It is much more economical, provides much more beneficial as compared to the milk-based protein or the whey proteins. And of course, the digestibility index also, if we talk about it, is comparable as compared to
Right.
the milk-based proteins as well. Third, I would also like to comment on the delivery systems can make a lot of differences. Let's say, for example, the fish oil. I think Dr. Kanta was talking about that. How do we actually take them? So, if you have got a micro encapsulation techniques and other techniques, so there are a lot of antioxidants which are naturally occurring, and antioxidant means they themselves are not a very stable molecules. So though we can use actually the micro encapsulation techniques so that they remain protected, and once we deliver them or once we have administered them, the outer coating goes away and then they are released so that we have the complete activity. And in a similar fashion now, there are also concepts like delayed release of the nutrients or the release at the specific site. For example, there are certain vitamins which gets degraded in the stomach acid. So you can entry code them so that they are not released in the gastric acid, but they are released into your intestine colon where your pH is around 6.
Okay. All right. Wow, that's great to hear. Pankaj?
Yeah, I think well covered by Dr. Pritzpal and Dr. Kanta. I would just add a few pointers over here. See, this is the sensory mapping and what delicious means for different demographies. For example, in Delhi, I might like something, but Dr. Kanta might not like golgappe, which is very prominent in Delhi because of the physiology that has been changed with time, right? So she might not like the spiciness, she might not like all those things which a demographic individual loves in Delhi, right? So I think that also matters a lot. We have to define the deliciousness basis the demographies where we live, our physiology, how we eat. Age factor also plays a major role over here. Means if someone is old, that guy might not like that spicy food, right? So I think these things really matters. And in this evolving time, what is happening now is personalization, right? Consumer is more oriented towards personalization, how he can get the balanced diet, balanced nutrition as per his body's requirement, which is actually increasing because of the lifestyle diseases, which is rising obesity, increasing diabetes population. Consumers today need high protein diet. They are migrating towards functional foods, right? So I think a big growth is happening on veganism. Consumer is migrating towards vegan diet. I think that way all these things are happening, and I think this is of course a threat also for us, how we are going to manage this in future, because there will be lot of challenges which are going to come in near future. How we are going to scale up the innovations, right? So if someone has innovated some technologies to make a very tasty food, how we are going to scale that up, how other industries are going to scale that up, right? So I think those are some of the challenges which will emerge in near future because of this.
So casting our view to the future, look further, not even 5 years from now, but even now, because the technologies are available. The question that comes up, and a lot of people have also asked me that question, is how can you cue health benefits through a food? I'm not saying that I don't want to deliver a health benefit through a golgappa or through an ice cream. I'm saying that if somebody says that you have this kind of food because it has got high protein, how do I know it is working? How do I know that I'm getting enough iron? Can we put some cues in there? And if the answer is yes, and I think the answer is yes, any technologies. And I would also like you to then think about the regulatory and ethical issues related to this. So Pankaj, you're very keen on starting out, so please go ahead.
Yeah, so cues can be provided. See, for example, if we really want to give some health benefits from protein, the first cue can be the product label, right? It is the first moment of truth which consumer decide before taking the product. It is the first moment of truth. So we can give lot of cues through the product label, through the publication of nutritional fact in the product label, so that consumer will get educated by just seeing the product, right? And then this is the olfactory way of presenting this is the actually olfactory way of presenting the product. Consumer will get lot of information from the label itself. We have to make the label very attractive so that it will cue that the product has some benefits, and then nutritional facts will also be there. Consumer can connect with those. And then the aroma, right? So we have to give the right aroma to the consumer, so that consumer stick to that. We have to give the right texture. We have to give the right mouthfeel. We have to influence the perception, right? So as I said in the beginning, a protein bar cannot be chalky. If it is chalky, it will not be accepted. It has to be smooth. It has to be a mouthful, right? A yogurt which will lack creaminess will not be perceived as good yogurt. It has to be viscous, it has to be consistent, right? So I think, and it has to be nutritionally superior also. So I think a lot of activities are happening. We have a lot of flavor today which attracts consumer, which a lot of flavor which connotes that this particular product is real good, this particular product will give us benefit, right? So I think that can be done that way. And consumer actually expect healthy to still feel indulgent. Sensory cues like crunch, like aroma, all these things generally attract consumer towards that. And packaging and even sound sometimes connotes the healthiness of the product. I think that way consumer can connect with a healthy food dieting.
Okay. Well, I'll hand it over to Kanta now. But also an additional question there for you is that how do we overcome eons of genetic programming where we love, we're genetically programmed to love fat, for example. So accepting baked chips so are there any things that we can do, adding on to what Pankaj is saying? So Kanta, would you like to?
Absolutely. But first, I would like to start with Dr. Bhatt. I want you to know I absolutely love Golgappa. I've never met an Indian food that I don't like. So don't associate with me not liking Golgappas, okay? Golgappa, Rasgulla, you name it. I love it.
Amazing, amazing.
In fact, yeah, it's important, right?
Be my guest whenever you are in Mumbai. Be my guest whenever you are in Mumbai.
It's a promise I will take up. But I have 6 grandchildren, from 17 months to 9 years.
Great.
The one thing that comes across, in addition to all these wonderful cues that you talked about, is education and experience. Did you know that one of the reasons a person chooses a food is because it's not because it tastes good. Tastes good, yes. It's actually because it does not taste bad. That's a big thing, because people are very scared of bad tasting food. So when they see something new, they look at others and they go, no, it's not bad. It's okay. And that's when they do. Because if you say it's great, they're like, they're tricking me into it. So that's an important part.
Yeah.
That brings us to education component and a communication component. Okay. So you talked about, noise, etc., smart packaging. So maybe it releases an aroma, or there's an anticipation, there's an appetite stimulation. And for people with diminished, taste and smell, especially with aging or with illness, this multisensorial priming can dramatically improve food intake and enjoyment. But for my 6 little people, I taught them from day one that when they are not feeling well, rasam. So if they feel a tickle in their throat, they go, Gammy, can I have your rasam? Even on the phone, they want rasam, and they ask, what is she asking for? I know what it is. Or rice and dal. They're unanimous. What can I make today? Rice and dal. That comes from a cultural, attenuation, and because the future is not about choosing between medicine and pleasure, but it's about using technologies so we can orchestrate every sensory dimension, the sight, the smell, the taste, and sound, but to make therapeutic foods irresistibly appealing. That's the next frontier, because nutritious food in this world is worthless if people don't eat it. So how do we make it better? That's what that's what I work with. Take all these ingredients. How do we do? For example, did you know that if you take 2 bitter compounds and you mix them together, the bitterness sometimes can be synergistically lower, which is why they came up with mocha. They took bitter cocoa and bitter coffee and put them together, the combinations of aromas, and suddenly people who don't like coffee will drink it. People who don't like chocolate will drink it because it's an experience. We have such magical combinations, and that's what I'm looking at pairing.
Fantastic. Yeah. Dr. Singh.
So I think amazingly, both I think Dr. Bhatt and Dr. Kanta has covered, but I would just like to continue where she just stopped, because it is not about keep on creating, because we have to do the innovation in the food. And remember that food is and will be the biggest industry in the world, because it doesn't matter what happens till the time the human race exists, they have to depend upon the food. You can forget about other things, but you cannot live without food. So it is the biggest industry. The only thing what I look at here is there is lots of product which are quick to generate kind of a things, but in order, if those food has to be taken for a longer period of a time, how well they are suiting to our genomics, which is actually a resultant of thousands and thousands years of mutation. For example, we all know that if we take vitamins and minerals, so minerals in the natural form in fruits and vegetables, they exist in the chelated format. So our genome, our intestine has know how to absorb those chelated minerals. But suddenly, let's say example, we know yogurt works very well. It is one of the best food for the gut health. But when we isolate those, say, lactobacillus acidophilus strains, and then we just dump all of them, is that good for a longer period of a time? Yes, for the medicinal point of view, if you're suffering from diarrhea, it works. But every day, if I'm keep on giving you, will it work or not? So that long-term impacts of those quick and the processed food, I think that's something which we need to engineer. And I think you were talking about the artificial intelligence and all other things. They may help us to understand those aspects and arrive at those levels or those kinds of processing which mimics our natural behaviors, so that we do not have a long-term side effects of those foods.
Yeah,
Great.
absolutely right. Absolutely correct.
And from what the three of you have said in the last 5 minutes, these are huge challenges. Some of them are pretty large challenges. So I think all the scientists, innovators, company people, developers signing in, hearing this, take that up. These are inspiring challenges, even though they're because they're so big. So let's see where this goes. Looking at the
Dr.
time,
Bharti, this is the reason that food is not only or merely about going into the kitchen. It's about the physics, it's about the chemistry, it's
Absolutely.
about the biology, and the most
Yeah.
important, the mathematics part of it.
Yeah, I think we have been
And
taking food
people.
and
Yeah.
people.
And people, because when
Yes.
you're looking at food, we're looking at real people with real lives. They like fat, they like salt, they like sugar.
Yeah.
So how do we make it so that they will still like it, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Absolutely.
We have taken food for granted for too long. I think it's time we give it the respect it deserves. For people in the audience, now is the time to add your questions to the question and answer box, and we will take them as they come along. Before we do that, I'd like to give an opportunity to each of our speakers 2 minutes. Summarize what you feel are the most important things that we should be looking forward to in this multisensorial versus health versus not versus multisensorials as it relates to health and wellness and foods. Kanta, would you like to go first?
Certainly. Never before has it been more important to know what's in food, what food is all about, and what food should be. Because never before has food been actually blamed for all that ails us today, right? People think we are ill, we are doing certain things incorrectly, and that's why we have the illnesses we have. So understanding food is imperative because it could also be the solution in not just understanding the problem, but the solution and a viable solution, because it's affordable. It usually does not have any side effects that are long-lasting or drastic, and it's something everybody can relate with. And most of all, it is something we cannot live without, because we all eat food. Some of us eat it many times a day, and thank goodness for that. We will all be in business for a long time. So the importance is really in understanding how do we take this thing called food and educate our masses, our target audience, so that they understand the fundamentals that all of you, Dr. Marthi, Dr. Singh, Dr. Bhatt, we've all talked about. And they don't walk away with what these consumer activists talk about and they go on a keto diet or they go on a low-fat diet. No, there is a place for everything. There's a reason for everything. How do we choreograph it so that it makes our lives easier? And most of all, even the poorest can afford it. Because I took a pledge when I was only 5 years old, when I learned that poor people didn't get to eat good food like we did, that good, nutritious, tasty food is not a privilege. It should be a birthright. And that's an important thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Pankaj?
Yeah, I can go. So I would just say that every recipe, as we discussed, is an experiment including physics, chemistry, and biology. I will conclude it this way. And in this race of making palatable food, palatable nutritions, right? So I think somewhere we need to keep a constant tab on flavors, right? So we are adding a lot of flavors to make it palatable. So we have to be very careful. What are the repercussions which are going to affect our body in terms of those flavors? Because flavor is a very complex matrix. Flavor is not something which is made from. I was in one of the veterinary formulation, I was using the beef flavor. So when I asked for the composition, that product was for veterinary purpose in US market. I asked for the flavor composition. It was having 700 components. 700 components to make that beef flavor. So my worry is flavor today, because in this journey we are making good nutrition food. We are trying to make it palatable, because it contains a lot of vitamins and minerals, and having vitamins and minerals without a palatable flavor is also a challenge, because consumer will not accept it. So, and of course, another thing is we have to be very careful while using these fortified foods today, because at the end of the day, hypervitaminosis can happen, right? Our livers and our kidneys are being loaded with these vitamins to metabolize those, right? So I think we have to be very careful. At the same time, while we are fortifying these foods for palatability, for olfactory, and we need to have regulations in place on the uses of these flavors. For example, in the cosmetic, we have regulations which is very clearly written that these allergens should be minus from the formulation, right? So these allergens should not be the part of these fragrances, very clearly notified in the D&C Act. So I think in terms of flavors also, somewhere these regulations should be strict, so that the fortified food can be regularized. Apart from this, I would say, of course, all the recipes, thorough validation should happen, thorough processing time, processing speed, heat exchanges, all those things should happen to get the consistency of the food product throughout. And it's a sensory symphony for me. Taste is a sensory symphony. It has to be regulated very well. It should marry with the product benefit. It should marry with the adverse event. It should marry everywhere in the product aspect.
Great. Thank you, Pankaj. Dr. Singh, you have the last word.
Sure. What I want to say is food is not for the business. As Dr. Kanta mentioned, that food is a fundamental right. So food is not for the business. Food is for the emotions and health of the consumer. And if you take care of the health and emotions of the consumer.
Fantastic. I think we had a very, very rich discussion. I think the challenges and the opportunities are right in front of us. I think how do we not separate indulgence from health is the question. So the short-term explosive liking that comes when you have something you like very much, versus the long-term benefits of eating something. And I think there are a lot of technologically, a lot of exciting things. Formulation-wise, a lot of exciting things. Yeah. I think one thing we have not explored, and that might be a topic for a future web Grail, is the whole issue of regulatory and health claims, which is part of regulatory, and also the ethics of telling consumers what to do. The consumers have become very, I don't know if woke is the proper word, but have become very active, and they need to understand. And we as manufacturers in the food business have to have I will argue that you have a much higher level of ethics to deal with health benefits and etc. So thank you very much. You've been fantastic. Let's take, I think there are a couple of questions. First one is from Namrata, is that is fizziness or carbonation important in the sensorial experience of energy drink? It's a simple, deceptively simple, but it's an interesting question. Is it important for an energy drink to be fizzy? Who would like to answer?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah? Because it tells you that if it's bubbly, maybe it's distributed easily, it's going into my system easy. So just think ginger shot or, ashwagandha shot now, if you could do that and go When I drink it, it's going to go directly to my brain. That's a perception, right? What do you think?
Yeah, what is that?
I can add a small comment on that. It's very simple to answer this question straightforward. Yes, it is essential. Why? You have a bottle of Coke, you sip it immediately, you keep it for a couple of hours till all the effervescence has gone off. You again sip it, you will feel the difference. So the effervescence gives you the feeling of freshness.
Yeah.
It's essential.
Yes.
And effervescence sometimes helps in masking the taste of vitamins and minerals also. So it is not only effervescence, it gives us the cue also, because we have seen this in practical also.
Yes.
But I dare say in the case of Coke or Pepsi or whatever, the fizziness allows you to actually, your body to feel that you have quenched your thirst, whether the actual effect is completely opposite. It actually dehydrates you a lot more. So again, that is getting into the ethics of it, which I don't want to get into at this point. A second question, which is kind of general, so I don't know how we could answer. What are the possible new trends, upcoming trends in the Nutra market? Where do we start?
From a nutraceutical perspective, I can add on to this. It's completely natural. The trend, what you see here is the natural flavor, the natural ingredients, the absence of your preservatives, absolutely free from the pesticides, aflatoxins. That's a regulatory requirement, but free from pesticides. Everything natural ingredient, these are being perceived as a good product.
Okay.
Yeah,
Any thoughts from?
Yeah, I think as Dr. Prithpal rightly said, so consumer today needs minus nasties, right? So paraben free, all these free, consumer needs that, and consumer understand that if these things are free from these preservatives and they have used natural colors, they perceive that the product is good and good for their health. The perception is like this.
Right.
I absolutely echo what you say. And I will add, in my business, I serve as an advisor to trade commissions of 14 different countries. I would love India to be one of the new ones on. But what is old, what is ancient, what's our heritage is now becoming fashionable.
Yes.
So to combine what you're saying, that natural, etc., is what my ancestors ate is probably good for us. And India has a cornucopia of these kinds of materials. So it's good business for us at home. So they start eating our old foods, traditional foods. And how do we also get that to the rest of the world? So we share the benefit. The curry patta, the ginger, the turmeric, some of it's already out there, but we have so much more to go.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. So the message is harness our heritage to give you much better benefits. And I hope that somewhere along the line, some of these things go into our systems and we end up being a much healthier nation. I think that's the ultimate thing that we want, whether it is people are already diseased or you want to prevent disease or you want to feed people who can't afford. I think overall increase in the health index of the country and then the world in general is very important. I think one last question has come in. Current FSSAI control on ORS formulations and the caffeine content, hydration claims are a bit difficult. I guess that's what this person means to say.
Maybe I can answer this.
Yeah.
So as per the FSSAI and the CDSO, I think the issue was specifically with respect to the claim of ORS, which is an oral rehydration salt, where WHO has clearly defined what are the contents of it, what is my sodium, potassium, chloride, and glucose content into it.
Right.
Then to make it much more tastier, you cannot add
sugar.
More amount of sugar. So glucose is already there, dextrose is already there, but you cannot alter it because there is a science behind this particular formulation. So there is a sodium glucose pump which is acting on it, which hydrates your cells. So any if you try to alter these compositions, the size does not work. In fact, let's say instead of the person is already dehydrating and you have given a very concentrated solution which is hyperosmotic, it can further lead to the dehydration of cells. So you have to understand the science. So if it is a pharmaceutical product, it has to be backed up by the science. I think that was the all issue about. So again, what we were saying about it is whenever you're dealing with the food for the masses and other thing, understand the science behind them and then formulate. That's I think the whole perspective.
Great. All right.
You're
On that note,
you're spot on. It's 4 glucose to 1 sodium. They've got
Yeah.
that, and in nature we have it, nimbu pani, and
Exactly.
we have buttermilk, so we've got something out there.
Okay. All right. So thank you very much indeed. That was really, really good. I learned a lot, and I think the audience also has learned a lot. And let us see how we can take it forward. To the audience, you need any help in these areas, please do contact us. Contact Nutrify Today Academy, and we'll put you in touch with our experts in case you have questions. So thank you all for attending, and thank you panelists for your valuable time and knowledge. And I look forward to seeing you again in the future.